Hi, this is Little Richard, the architect of rock and roll. I'm here to tell you about the heart of Georgia, the place where everything begins, the song and soul of the South, Macon, Georgia.
I think sometimes it's important to just come together, to just share an experience with another individual.
Macon is more than a destination. It is an experience not to be missed, a culture unlike any other, a magical place that's been drawing people to the heart of Georgia for thousands of years. It all began, it is said, upon the banks of the mystical Ocmulgee, a river whose mystery continues and whose lure is timeless. Listen as the tales of the centuries unfold and the waters dance to an endless beat that resonates to this day.
It sounded like a loud whistle coming closer and closer. Something coming fast. Hardly had time to get scared. Hit the calm in front of the big white house.
Like most other aspects of this unique city, its buildings refuse to be stereotyped. Their grandeur is both functional and inspirational. It's as though you can almost hear the stained glass sing and the light give birth to fresh vision.
The trick is to connect the individual sites, the individual buildings, or sometimes it's in the streetscape, with people and with events from the past to learn about the associations with music, culture, literature, history.
I explore my world through the arts. Pangea, we are one. It's just to explore our oneness as a people, regardless of what corner of the globe. What really makes us one is the land. This world was one big land piece, and then it started dividing. If you kind of push it back together, you will see that the southern part of the United States fits somewhere into West Africa. That really made me think. From Adazienu to Abagana to Macon, Georgia, the soil is red. How closer can we get?
Many of our buildings were based on European models, and Macon was influenced very much from Italy and other countries.
Like the people of Macon, its architecture is magnificent and diverse, standing tall and majestic. Every brick and column has a story to tell.
Outside experts have said that Macon is like an encyclopedia of 19th and early 20th century architecture. And I agree, it's got a great variety of different styles, from Federal, Greek Revival, a heavy emphasis on the Victorian, and then all the way up to Art Deco and Art Moderne. So it's just wonderful. You can find it all right here within a few blocks of downtown.
Macon is very unique. For one thing, that it was not burned during the Civil War.
We have so many different styles and types of buildings, not just homes, but also the buildings in the center of the city that still remain intact.
And after the Civil War, it continued to prosper through our railroads.
When I think about the energy of Macon, I think about a story about Little Richard, that when he was washing dishes down by the Greyhound bus station, he would listen to the beats of the trains going by, and that's what he based his music on. And as you know, rock and roll is pretty much based on Little Richard. And those kind of things that happened here throughout the years had to have left some kind of effect here, you'd like to think at least. So I think Macon's history, people say there's something in the water here, maybe that's what's in the water.
A lot of people don't realize beyond the Allman Brothers how much music history Macon has to offer. I'm such a big Otis Redding fan that I'm constantly intrigued with Otis's history, and Little Richard being from there, and of course James Brown and Ray Charles being from Augusta and Albany right down the road. There's so much great music that came out of that area.
Otis Redding started right at the historic Douglas. Met my mom, married, raised us here, and always knew that Macon was it for him. And when he came home from traveling all over the world, he wanted to share with all of Macon what he experienced. People respect him for that because he loved his city so much that they're like, we claim him as our own. He's our Otis Redding. He's our hometown singer.
Macon is truly a place where art and architecture merge to generate an environment that encourages creativity.
There's a creative energy here that draws people to visit and to live here.
The big house, I wrote many songs there. I used to sit over there all day on that piano.
There are people out there today that are trying to follow in the footsteps of some of those larger musicians that put Macon on the music map. I think we have a lot of potential that way.
Macon has always had a rich history of music, and I think there's a good chance of it coming back around.
We've showed up in Macon. We wanted to do as much Macon stuff as possible.
We've got young musicians coming out of Macon, opera singers, and our symphony here is world acclaimed. And I think that's a rich part of our history, but that's not the only part of Macon. Not only is it music, it's a lot of things.
Well, Macon is a very arts-friendly town, and I don't know if it's in our water or what it is, but it does bring people here.
I've always loved to draw, and I have sketchbooks that I would make of various details on buildings, and later I began doing watercolors.
Macon is proud to have so many artists in our community, and Macon Arts is so pleased that we represent so many of them here.
I wanted to connect an African art tradition with the quilted art of our community. Well, I began to design and paint and dye fabric, and I soon discovered that probably the quilt or piece textile tradition was the most prolific.
When you look around galleries in Macon, you will see the wide variety of art that is represented here. We are an arts community. Art is everywhere we go. It's in our architecture, it's in our historic preservation, it's in our house museums, it's everywhere.
After having lived here for many years, I still enjoy to walk the streets of downtown, and I always see something new, always something undiscovered.
If you go anywhere in Macon, you'll see public art. Macon was known for statues for a long time. We've got the historic statues, but now we're having more contemporary art for people to see.
We hope that when people come here, they'll get out of their car and they'll walk around and they'll pay attention not only to the way this city's laid out, but pay attention to all the details on these beautiful buildings.
Macon has always been a cultural center for this region.
Just as Central America and all has pyramids, we have earth mounds.
This was the Okmulgee Old Fields, their ancestral homeland. They were excavated and wonderful archaeological things were discovered. It's now a national monument. And so once a year there is a festival where the Creeks come home from all over the country. They return to Macon and celebrate their heritage.
And what's really wonderful is trying to understand why everything that's so great here came to pass. The architecture, which is so incredible, the music and the culture and the Southern cuisine. And the reason why we're here originally is from this point is where settlers and traders went deep into the South, because this is as far as you could navigate the Okmulgee River before you got to the rapid.
The Okmulgee River, I've rafted it, I've waded in it, I've painted it many times. And with our new river walk-in now, anyone can just stroll down and sit down on a bench and enjoy it.
It's not too small, it's not too large, and it's beautifully located right in the center of the state. Two interstates can take you to the mountains or the seashore with not too much difficulty.
There's always things to do, especially in downtown Macon.
Macon has something to offer for you. I mean, every night of the week. You can go see a play, you can go see an art show, or you can go see a great live music act pretty much any week of the year.
Now we have restored theaters, museums, lots of downtown residents, lofts and apartments. We've got, just feet on the street, little shops and boutiques.
When people come into our stores and they're new to the area, and the first thing they talk about is how beautiful Macon is.
Shopping in Macon is for adventurers, treasure hunters, and hip alike. And after you shop till you drop, find a fishing hole on the lake or stroll along the river. we're sure you'll want to experience some of Macon's finest cuisine.
It's a real fond memory. I guess that's why the songs flowed, because the vibes were just great.
Greg was my favorite, because I always call him my baby.
It was a lot of fun. All my brothers would come in quite often, and they would bring guests with them. And it's just fun being around people that you've known for a long time and watch them grow up and be famous, and then they still be the same.
What you see here today in Macon is a city, a historic city that is being completely redeveloped.
The term Renaissance is often overused, but I think that is what has happened in downtown Macon.
There's something happening here in Macon, Georgia that can't be explained. There's too many creative outcomes, whether it was the tremendous architecture that's been produced here for generations, whether it's the different music that's been created here that nobody else in the world ever thought of before it was thought of, right here in Macon. The food that's created here, the culture of putting all that together has created something that's unexplainable, that draws people from all over the world.
Well, that's what makes people come from Japan. That's what makes people come from Italy. And that ties us all together, makes us a family.
Sometimes you need to come together with other individuals and experience that same thing.
I left Macon for a while to live in Atlanta, but I had to come back, you know. Some people say it's something in the water. I don't know, maybe it's something in the old Mogi River.
There is an old legend that when the Creek Indians were forced out of this area, they placed a curse on Macon, saying that those who come here will never be able to leave. And so many people try, they go away, but something pulls them back. I don't know if it's the Creek legend or the charm and the beauty of the city, so you can decide that for yourself.
Macon, the song and soul of the South, where poetry comes to life, history rocks, and the river rolls. More than a mere destination, a place where stories abound and history is still being made. So stay a while, see what this place has to offer. Soak up the vibe, take in the history, and allow this place to unleash that special something within you that longs to create. No one just visits Macon, they become part of it. And you just became part of our story. And once you've been here, something tells us you'll be back.